From that day on, he feared being tracked by his sister-in-law, dared not go to any regular place. One day, his fellow student Vuong Tu Na came to visit, and he invited him to stay and drink for fun. During the toasting and jesting, they joked about the bedroom in slightly vulgar terms. Unexpectedly, she was eavesdropping and heard everything, secretly added croton beans into the porridge brought out for the guest to eat. Shortly afterward, Vuong vomited and had severe diarrhea, lying there breathing like he was dying. She sent the maid out to ask,
"Still dare to speak rudely again?"
Only then did Vuong realize why he had vomited so badly and groaned, begging for forgiveness. She then gave him a bowl of mung bean porridge, already prepared, to neutralize the poison. Vuong ate the porridge and recovered. Because of this, his friends warned each other to avoid that house, and afterward no one dared to come eat or drink again. He made an excuse of attending a literary society, asked his wife for permission to go. In the evening, already tipsy, Vuong said,
"A young courtesan from Nam Shuang just drifted into town. Let's call her over to drink and entertain us, shall we?"
Everyone happily agreed except for him who stood up to excuse himself. The others tugged at his sleeve and said,
"Your tigress of a wife may have long ears, but even she can't hear what happens here.
Stay and enjoy with us. We swear to keep silent and not leak a word. What are you afraid of?" So he sat back down. Soon, the courtesan gracefully entered, around 18 or 19 years old. Said her surname was Ta, named Phuong Lan. Spoke charmingly and elegantly, enchanting everyone like mad. She seemed most interested in him, often casting glances his way. The friends noticed and made them sit side by side. She took his hand and traced a 5 in his palm. At that moment, he was truly torn. Wanted to leave but couldn't bear it. Wanted to stay but didn't dare. Overwhelmed with inner turmoil. They sat close, whispering in each other's ears. The more they drank, the more flirtatious they became, forgetting entirely about the tigress at home. Later, as the midnight drum sounded, most guests had left the wine shop. Only a handsome youth remained under the lamp, drinking alone, with a boy attendant holding a towel beside him. Everyone secretly admired his elegance. After a while, the youth finished drinking and left. The attendant followed, then returned and said to him,
"Sir, my master waits outside to speak a word with you."
No one knew who that person was, but his face turned pale. He didn't even say goodbye, rushed out in panic. The youth was actually Jiang Than, and the attendant was the maid. The two had disguised themselves to spy on him. He followed her home, willingly lay down to receive whipping. From then on, he was strictly confined. All contact with guests was cut off. He grew depressed, neglected his studies, failed the civil exam that year, was demoted to commoner status, and lost his scholarship. One day, he whispered something to the maid, which raised her suspicion of an affair. She took a wine jar, covered the maid's head, and beat her brutally. Then she tied him and the maid together, took scissors and cut a piece of flesh from each of their bellies and swapped the pieces, attaching his flesh to her and hers to him. Then she untied them and forced them to dress their own wounds. Over a month later, the grafted flesh had fused. Even more cruelly, she would often trample sticky dough with her feet, throw in dirt and dust, and scream at him to pick it up and eat. Such were the savage acts Jiang Than committed toward her husband. His mother, feeling sorry for her son, one day visited and saw how thin and gaunt he had become. Upon returning, she wept in agony, wishing to die for peace. That night, she dreamed of an old monk who appeared and recited, "Past life was no lie. This life is not true. Oh, the mouse shrinks and hides, lest the cat devour it." The monk, after reciting, held water in his mouth and sprayed it on Jiang Than's face, washing off her makeup and staining her robe. Everyone was terrified, thinking surely she would fly into a rage and bash the monk's bald head. Unexpectedly, she quietly wiped her face and left. The monk also went elsewhere. At home, she sat dazed like one who had lost her soul. She did not eat all day, put away her bedding, and lay down. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, she called him to wake up. He thought she wanted to urinate, quickly brought a chamber pot to her, but she pushed it away, pulled his arm, and dragged him under the blanket to lie with her. He obeyed, trembling like a court official receiving an imperial edict. She solemnly said,
"Oh God, I've made you like this. How could I still be called human?"
Then she touched his entire body, and whenever her hand reached the bruises and scars from beatings and stabbings, she wept softly, used her sharp nails to scratch her own skin, wishing to die immediately. He, moved with compassion, tried his best to console and comfort her. She said,
"I think that monk from earlier must have been
a bodhisattva in disguise. That bowl of cold water changed my entire heart and mind. Now, when I recall what I've done, it feels like something from a different life. Could I have not even been human? To have a husband and not know joy? To have parents and not know how to serve? What kind of person was I? Tomorrow morning, let's move back in with your parents, to care for and attend to them properly." His wife and he talked through the night like long-lost lovers reunited after 10 years. At dawn, she rose and packed clothes, dishes, had the maid carry baskets, she herself carried the blanket bundle, and urged him to go ahead and knock at the door. His mother, alarmed, opened the door and asked what was going on. He expressed his wife's wishes. As the old lady still hesitated, not wanting to house them, Giang Tan and the maid had already walked right in, carrying everything. His mother followed them inside. Giang Tan knelt and cried bitterly, begging her parents-in-law to spare her life so she could atone. The old woman, seeing her sincerity, also wept and said,
"How could my child have changed so quickly?"
He told her everything that had happened. Only then did the old woman recall her dream. It had come true. She quickly ordered the servants to clean and prepare the old house for the couple. From then on, she served her in-laws even better than a filial daughter. Her manners were proper, like a new bride entering the family. If anyone teased her about the past, she would blush in shame. She became thrifty and diligent, saved what she could. Within 3 years, the household was worry-free, and their savings had reached tens of thousands. That year, he passed the provincial exam and became a licentiate. She would often ask,
"That time I saw Miss Puang Lan once. Does she still long for you?"
He replied that now being this happy, he had no more idle dreams or desires. Then he went to the capital for the metropolitan exam and returned after several months. Upon entering the house, he saw Phuong Lan playing chess with Zhang Than, and was stunned. He asked and learned that Zhang Than had spent 100 coins to redeem Phuong Lan from the brothel, because she was the one he had once loved. When I visited the Titiu region, I met Mr. Vuong Tuna, who recounted the whole story of that woman to me in detail.
This chapter concludes the story, A Wife Fiercer Than a Tiger, with redemption and inner awakening. Through scenes of cruelty, remorse, and reconciliation, it explores the fragility of power and the depth of human change. The Renaissance-style hand-drawn illustrations elevate the narrative. Chiaroscuro dramatizes moral contrast. Contrapposto and classical proportions breathe life into every figure. Standout moments include Scene 9's silent humiliation, Scene 13's intimate repentance, and Scene 15's tearful kneeling at dawn, all rendered with artistic discipline and emotional precision. A tragic tale redeemed by light and form,